Good morning. Welcome back to Good Morning Africa, live on Pan-African Television. My name is Kwame Owusu, Danso. A special thank you to the team for bringing us the 6 a.m. news, as well as sports and the newspaper headlines this morning. We're going to be discussing the issues that we've tabled for our conversation today, and I'm going to be sharing them with you pretty shortly before I introduce my panelists. Akufo-Addo promotes 2,745 police officers 1 month ahead of time. That is on the front page of the Herald newspaper. Ethiopia and UN reach Tigray aid deal. And I'm sure you have been alive to the impasse that is currently happening in Ethiopia. We're going to be touching on that. MPP thugs assault soldier, the Catalyst newspaper. Bribery allegation against Akufo-Addo, ASEPA petitions scratch. That's on the front page of the Insight newspaper for today. I have been joined in the studio by the Executive Secretary for Care for Free and Fair Elections Ghana, David Kumiado. Good morning to you, sir. And also, Honorable Kwejo Edu as a former MP for Adenta constituency. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. is also here. Good morning, sir. Now, we're kickstarting the conversation with the African story, the Ethiopian story. And if you don't mind, sir, I want to start with you, Mr. David Kumiado.
Thank you very much, Justice.
Kwame.
KOD. I'm sorry. It's very unfortunate what is happening in Ethiopia. The Tigray and the Ethiopian army have been battling for more than a month now. And normally what happens is that if these things occur, it is the normal people, ordinary people that suffer. It's the ordinary people that suffer. You realize that it is now that the European Union are able to bring some relief to the people that are in those countries. And that is what Ghana has been fighting against, because elections itself is one of the things that brings conflict and confusion. In fact, Ghana had a press conference yesterday, and one of the two of the items we touched on were on the security. Now we realize we have an intel that the Electoral Commission is telling the police that they should turn away non-Ghanaians from the polling centers, preventing them from participating in our elections. Now, our confusion here has been that, you know, that as one of the key arguments of the Electoral Commission for changing the biometric register that were there was to make it a Ghanaian register. Because the assumption is that in their thinking, there are non-Ghanaians on the register. Therefore, it makes the register an ECOWAS register. So if we have an ECOWAS register and we don't have Ghanaians who are supposed to be choosing who is supposed to lead us in this country, then what happens is that other people or other nationals will have to be making decisions for us, which we will have to live by. So they made those arguments. Many Ghanaians contested against it, but they went ahead anyway because they have their independence. They went ahead to change the register. So the assumption today is that our register is without any foreigner. How then does the Electoral Commission tell Ghanaians or tell the police that they should turn away non-Ghanaians, preventing them from participating in our elections? We feel that this is an avenue.
We're discussing the Ethiopian issue.
Yes, I know. I just want to draw a reference.
Okay, so you're pulling parity with that.
Exactly.
But so what's the lesson here?
Now, conflict brings a lot of difficulties to the ordinary people in a country. And that shouldn't be happening to us. That shouldn't be happening to us. We know what elections, the conflict that has occurred in many other countries through elections. We don't want Ghana to go back in that particular situation.
Okay, so that's a lesson we should draw from what is happening.
So it is very, very important.
Okay.
What is happening in Ethiopia today is not good. A lot of people are suffering. People are not even getting food to eat, even ordinary water. People will have to migrate from their areas where perhaps they will have some business doing, they will have money coming to be able to fend for themselves and do whatever thing they want to do. They are unable to do that. You have to move from that place to a place you're unfamiliar with. There's no food, children are sick, there are some children that were on medication that were supposed to be taken care of. Children were supposed to be having what do you call it? surgery. But because of the conflict that are happening, they'll never, because who is the doctor that can sit down there to say that I'm going to take off this child? Some children were supposed to be having surgery the next day before the conflict began. And all these children are there, they are suffering. These are children who has not participated in anything that is causing the conflict in that particular country. So in just bringing what Care Ghana has been saying, we will have to look at what is happening in Ethiopia to ensure that such do not occur in this country, because we will suffer. Okay. A lot of people will suffer. If you look at the number of people who are living below $1 a day, we are so many that when there is a conflict, these are the people who are going to go through such unfortunate situation. Okay. So basically, in drawing the Ethiopian situation to Ghana, we'll have to use this as a reference point to ensure that we don't get here. Free and fair and transparent elections will help this country, will build our democracy, and will take us away from some of this suffering that is going on in Ethiopia.
Thank you very much. Honorable sir.
Thank you. I won't say I know so much about this Ethiopian Tigray story, because we've been neck deep in politics in the last few months, and local politics has really saturated every day's activity. But drawing from what I just read, it looks as if the UN were finding it difficult to have access to the Tigray area where a conflict seemed to have brewed. So with this agreement with the authorities, the Ethiopian authorities, at least it paves the way for the United Nations to have access to send aid to that area. My reading from what the newspapers, it appears that they said they are going to have to send a group that would undertake a needs assessment before whatever will follow. For a whole month of a conflict of this sort, I'm sure it doesn't require that needs assessment, because definitely there's a template somewhere that in the wake of any such conflict there will be some immediate needs of the people. So immediate supplies that will the people might need. So those ones can go before whatever needs assessment or whatever report that will come from the needs assessment should be made to apply. But
maybe food, maybe medication,
certainly, beddings and all those other things, so those are basic. You don't need any long needs assessment process to get to ascertain this information. So whatever template they have to deal with such conflict, those things should go ahead, whilst whatever it is that maybe locally, because every country has a certain food items that or let me say a certain cuisine, that is their local kind of food. In Ghana, it is our staples like maize and rice. I don't know what pertains in those countries. At least it doesn't take more than a day to get to know. And I know the UN has warehouses all over the world, and they have some of these supplies already in stock. And to mobilize these things and send to those places within 2-3 days is something they can easily do. So 1 month is long enough to get people to start starving. So it would be good if they made a good impact within the shortest possible time, rather than this bureaucracy of whatever they call needs assessment.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Pratt, please.
Well, the Tigrayan problem has a very long history, and its history is perhaps as long as the history of Ethiopia itself. I'm very deeply worried about what is happening in Ethiopia. One, because Ethiopia was a model for the rest of Africa for many, many years. Ethiopia is one country which managed to resist European colonialism. It fought off the Italian invaders. You know, it held its ground against all the European colonialists and managed to establish some kind of empire which held its own until the African liberation struggle really intensified, you know, across the continent. Now, Emperor Haile Selassie was an advocate of national liberation in Africa and also a staunch advocate of continental union government. And indeed, his speeches, his advocacy and so on, is what earned him the near God status. And you do know that the Rastafarian religion actually considers him as a direct descendant of God and so on. He was very instrumental in the formation of the Organization of African Unity, when the crisis emerged between the Moravian group and the Casablanca group and so on. He was the one who mediated and actually got Secretary of Guinea to persuade Nkrumah not to walk out of that meeting and so on. And this is very well documented. Of course, his empire was overthrown as empire by the Dutch, which was led by Mengistu Haile Mariam, now living in exile in Zimbabwe. Now, after the overthrow of the Dutch, there was a lot of disintegration. Ethnic rivalries rose to the fore. So you have a situation where indeed Ethiopia now is a federation, and it's a federation largely based on the ethnic divide. Now what is shocking is that the current Prime Minister of Ethiopia has just recently won a Nobel Peace Prize for promoting peace. Today, he is the guy who is bombing parts of his own country in order to achieve a unity that appears to be a phantom. What is happening in Tigray is also instructive for us, those of us who want to look back at our history. You do know that at independence, elements of the United Party actually wanted a federation. And they wanted a federation largely because they thought that this country's wealth largely was in Ashanti and other Akan areas. I mean, cocoa then and gold and so on. And they wanted a federation so that they could keep their resources for themselves and so on. Of course, Nkrumah resisted that and tried to build a unified Ghana, a unitary state and so on. The advantages of building that unitary state today is there for all of us to see, especially given the conflicts in other African countries which are largely based on ethnicity. Not much is known about what is happening in the Tigray region. One, because the government has imposed a ban on information. Internet services are down. Foreign journalists are not allowed to go into the Tigray region and so on. But yesterday, the impression that we got, while the government claimed that it had defeated the rebels in Tigray and taken over the capital, the other Western media reports indicating that the forces were regrouping in parts of the capital and that the war was not yet over. This story is about extending humanitarian assistance to the war zones and so on. And yes, humanitarian assistance will play a role in alleviating the suffering of the people who are caught in this needless, absolutely needless conflict. However, what is important is to stop the war. And I'm shocked that the Ethiopian leadership is refusing to reach a ceasefire agreement. It insists on bombing its way to victory. That is not possible. I mean, you can't bomb a people, you know, a clearly distinct people, bomb them out of existence. It won't happen. You understand? Even the colonialists, the imperialist forces, which eventually took over the United States of America, after carrying out a policy of genocide, have not been able to completely wipe out the Indian population, the original Indian population, and the original Indian population still exists in the United States of America. So it is not possible to bomb the grievances, to bomb away the grievances of the Tigrayan people. And I think that it's important for the Ethiopian government to be persuaded or compelled to come to the negotiation table. Every war ends on the negotiating table. No war has ended on the battlefield. Every war has ended on the negotiating table. And the earlier they went to the negotiating table, the better it will be for Africa, for the Ethiopian people, and especially for the Tigrayan people.
Thank you, Mr. Pratt. 026-084-6539 is the WhatsApp number. You can share with us what your thoughts are, and we'll read them out to you. Let me also remind you that we're streaming live on our Facebook platform, which is facebook.com/Pan-African Television. Do the needful. Share the feed with others so they can get the opportunity to also watch today's morning show. Now, let's come back home and discuss other important issues. Nana Akufo-Addo has promoted 2,745 police officers 1 month ahead of time. The simple question to be asked is why? Honorable.
You want the answer from me? I thought you would speak to Nana Akufo-Addo and the Minister of Defense. Well, but it's really. I'm sure the police. Is this the police, right?
Yeah.
Most of them who have been promoted, they really deserve the promotion. Some of them have been waiting for several years or have been in the queue for several years. So to these people, for these people, it may look like something they've been looking for, waiting for quite a while. But one would ask, why now? The timing is everything. So once government thinks that their fortunes are dwindling in terms of, how bad the economy is where we find ourselves as an economy. Number two, the goodwill of the government itself. Throughout the past 3 years or so, with the collapse of the banks, the way the military, or let me say the security system has been, what's the word, ambushed, if I should put that way. I'm putting it in quotes because one would have expected that the system they've had over the years, especially with recruitment and how the hierarchy of this security agencies have been handled over the years. They had their own military or police or whatever, be it fire service, SEPs or whatsoever. But it looks like this particular government has usurped all these security agencies, and everything seems to be happening from the Flagstaff House, or let me say, they call it the Jubilee House, and the Ministry of Defense's office. So the various heads confer and they decide how recruitment should be should be handled. So in the last 3 years, we all know we have not even advertised one single recruitment exercise for any of the security services. What you hear at one time or the other in the year is that immigration officers have been trained, SEPs officers are being trained, police officers are being trained, fire service officers are being trained. How they were recruited, the process they were taken through, nobody gets to hear. So definitely, if you have any friend at that level of the hierarchy of these security agencies, they will tell you, except for those who bear a certain names from some ethnic group in the country. Promotions don't usually come the way of the others. If you hear any promotion that has taken place, the names will suggest something to you, okay? And you find that those bearing a certain ethnic names, they are the ones who get these promotions. So the ones deserving of the promotions have been kept in a queue for quite a while, until we got to this point when some 5-6 months ago, this government realized that its fortunes are dwindling by the day. You know, and you saw that by the kind of the now adult people have come to know, the show boy who is all over the place, people running and rallying around rallies wherever he finds himself and all of that. Today he goes out there, you don't get that vibe anymore. People don't, you know, take to him like they used to do. So definitely sending the signals to them that things are not going right. And with the incessant, or let me say the myriads of scandals that have bedeviled this government over the past 3 years, if that is anything to go by, they know very well that their fortunes, especially with the security agencies, may not be the best. So what can they do? 1 month to election, let's put something together and put it out there. 2,000 whatever, it can change the you know, once you touch a certain nerve in a security setup, or let me say an organized setup, people might assume that, oh, probably this is the first batch. Within the next few whatever, if we are able to sail through, the other group will also find it will be their turn to also be promoted and so on. So let's do this first one and see what we will get out of it. So for some of us, we believe it's a pure political gimmick. They've tried all manner of things. The very laws they try to you know, especially with this Owusu kind spare parts people, the laws that were supposed to start from, was it November 1st or October 1st? The importation, exactly. They've had to hold it on for future whatever. But here we are. We all can read through these new ideas that they want to, you know, they claim they want to use to, I don't know how to even put it. You know, it's funny. Ghanaians are tired of this kind of attitude, and I think we have to be serious with, especially my father was a military officer, and some of us know how these people be. We still have friends, we have links, we have family in this group of people. And if you take the issues that over the past few years have happened to military people, police people, some of them were beaten, some of them were maimed, some of them were humiliated, like the recent one that happened just a few days ago, the soldier who was beaten by the national security officers. It sent a certain signal into the military, and the soldiers, when these things happen, it doesn't just, you can't just come the next day and come and give them freebies and expect that overnight that alone will twist their mind towards an election. It's late in the day for the government to have taken this decision. If it was meant to win votes on the 7th of January, for some of us, 7th of December, for some of us, we think that this government must just start saying goodbye to Ghanaians. Their attitude has not been the best. You are in the media, so you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure we'll discuss the bribery issue later. But every step on the way, they have stepped on the very fabric that holds a nation. They've stepped on judiciary, they've stepped on the security agencies, they've stepped on the banking system, they've stepped on anything that looks like holding this country as a pillar. So this last minute freebies, free water, free electricity, I hear they are sharing television sets, you know, with Nana Akufo-Addo's pictures on it and so on. You go to some of the villages, they are sharing package boxes with rice, sugar, oil, Indomie, mosquito spray and mosquito coil and all those other things.
You know the one that comes with 500 Ghana cedis?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, going all over the place. They are sharing money to market women. Somebody called me from Didome or somewhere in the Volta region. A lady I know in that area. She said they brought her 500 Ghana cedis. Just one day. They just walked into the market. Somebody had the money and started sharing the money. And I said, please take the videos and send to us. And he did. Okay, so please, this is not the best time for Akufo-Addo and his team to sell, share, what do you call it, promotions. You know, if water did not help, electricity did not help, what else? All the freebies did not help. Free SHS did not help. It is not the sharing of promotions at this time, 11th hour, 4 days, 5 days, or let's say a month to election, that will save them from...
Actually 4 days.
4 days.
Yes.
So, trust me, everybody can read into things like this.
Right.
Even in those days when, towards an election, you find government trying to pave roads, fix the street lights. Even that, people did not like it. People read through it. How much more a box of rice a month to election, or 3 weeks to election, or 5 days to election? People can read through, and Ghanaians are not that daft to fall for some of these gimmicks. So I don't think this last, maybe there's something more to come. We are only talking about promotions today. We still have tomorrow and Saturday to go. I'm sure something else will come up. Okay. Today I hear the TVs are going out. I don't know what they still have tomorrow to share on Saturday. Last week they were sharing Land Cruisers and motorbikes for education, circuit supervisors and all those other things. Why now? Everything is going out. I mean, all the freebies a week to election. For me, Ghanaians are too wide awake to be fooled by some of these gimmicks.
Thank you very much. I think you need to offer some advice to Adjoa for them, because she's now started patching the routes. So maybe you should advise her to stop patching the routes, because you lose. Anyway, let me come to you, my brother, David.
Thank you. First of all, promotion is good, especially when somebody merits it. So for me, if the police or the security services, any of the individuals in there, their time for promotion is up, I think that it is good for them to be promoted. Because what happens is that most of the times it gives you a new experience. It gives you a new experience. It motivates you for you to be able to do more, because the effort you are putting forth is being respected and recognized. So for me, it is not bad. But the challenge here is that if the promotion is to get a favor, if I'm due for promotion and you deny me of that particular promotion, and when you need something from me, that is when you call me and say, "Well, I'm giving you that promotion I didn't give you yesterday." Everybody resents, and we can read through the lines. See, let us not take our security men for a fool. Excuse my language. These are smart guys who are very knowledgeable. Gone were the days when you have policemen, people enter into police because they don't have education. People enter police service because they don't even know where to go. They don't know what to do with their lives. Today we have PhDs, we have medical doctors, we have lawyers, we have degree holders, we have master's degree holders in the police service. So these are smart guys who knows what they are about. But if you only need something from me, like a boss who needs a favor, some favor from a worker, a female worker, and before that time, you were promoting other people, and this worker has been there working so tirelessly and very hard, but you ignore. You pretend not to see what the worker is doing, and you don't give that person a promotion. But when it came to when you needed a favor from that particular person, you said, "I've promoted you." You see, this will not be appreciated, and the favor you seek to have, you may not get it. So that is one of the challenges we have. You see, a lot of these security guys have complained. You know, because of the nature of their work, they're unable to come out to speak. So when they meet people like us, people they can have confidence in, they try to speak. They tell you, because a lot of them are friends, a lot of them are relatives, a lot of them are brothers and sisters, like Honorable Edwasari said. So they speak to you, they confide in you and tell you things. They have complained bitterly. Many of them whose time for promotion long ago was never promoted. Others that were behind them were promoted above them. But when it gets to an election time, an election year, when you needed power, so you think that, oh, let me do this for these people, so that you will have that feeling that, oh, I like them, I have good intentions for them. People will not necessarily come and vote for you because of this particular promotion, because you've denied them of it for a long time. Again, I feel that it is also a panic reaction from this government. It's a panic reaction. Why do you wait 4 or 5 days to an election? Then you said, I've promoted you. Promoting 2,745 policemen. Why now? That is the question. Why now? Is it that today that their time has come that you also will have to be promoted? At least our politicians, some of them, let me say so, because I don't want to lump all of them together. They should grant us with a little knowledge. Okay? We can also make our own deductions. And we know some of these things. If you can recall, 2008, many of these things occurred. But the rational Ghanaian made the decision. And you see, many times, if it is time for elections, then we go and reduce fuel, the price of fuel. Monies are given to people. Things that were not done for people are being done for them. Like you made mention of Adjoa Safo now patching roads. My brother, just pass through Kaneshi. Okay, Dansuma Junction on the Carnation Road. It is more than a graveyard, a great tomb. I'm telling you, there is water that have covered that particular gulf. Then every car that gets there sinks in that particular water. And then 2 days, 3 days to an election, then you bring machines to come and fix that road. These are gimmicks. And every Ghanaian can read in between the lines. Our politicians should learn. At least experience will teach us that some of these things will not help. Will not be able to help you to win power again. You see, it's about time that the individual Ghanaian, the security men, all these people that these freebies are being given to, they teach the politicians that we are not, excuse my language, stupid people. What you need to do for us, we have given you 4 years. Do that within the 4 years. It is not the 3 days, 2 days, 1 week that is left for us to come and choose another person to lead us. Then you want to use this to induce us to change our decisions. Anybody that has made the decision has made it already. I was telling somebody yesterday, me, if you build a mansion for me and give me all the cars, the Lamborghinis and Maybach Benzes and all those things, I have made my mind already. My decisions are based on the things I've seen, the things I've heard, the manifestos that have been presented. We look at these things, we hear the arguments on radio. Okay, decisions will be made on these particular things, not the ninth hour. Then you try to induce us with freebies. I've also seen boxes and that have been packaged. And one of the things that I saw was Maggie Cube. And I was so much surprised.
I mean, the one in the north.
I'm telling you, that one was not in the box. That one was in the cloth of the person sharing, and then picks and counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, take. And I was amazed.
Yeah.
This is an insult to the intelligence of those particular people. Our politicians must learn and stop these particular tricks, because when you do this at the 9th hour, you incur the wrath of the people. If somebody has made his or her mind to want to vote for you, maybe based on sympathy, not necessarily what you have done, and then you come to do this, the person may decide to change his or her mind and not to vote for you again. Then this 9th hour, you are coming to share TV. And I've said that many a times, I don't know why they can't find people like me to share, to give us some of those things. Because I believe that it is the money that I use to procure these things are money, the money of the taxpayers. So please, everybody that is getting this promotion, anybody that is getting any freebies from this government, anybody that is getting anything at this 9th hour, please take it, enjoy it, use it, let it benefit you, but go and vote wisely, because the choice you make today will define the change you want to see in your life tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David Kumi Adol. Mr. Pratt, please.
Well, I'm just surprised at the massive recklessness that is being exhibited all over the place. We do know that in 2009, we tried to implement the single spine salary structure with a lot of difficulties. The national economy suffered largely as a result of that. The single spine salary structure had been introduced by the Kufuor administration, and the Mills administration was obligated to continue it. It was done, it created huge holes in the national economy and so on, because it was believed that the rationalization of emoluments and so on would lead a long way, you know, in bringing relief to workers and in ensuring that these disparities were not used as bargaining chips in order to cause more, you know, chaos, you know, in the national economy and so on. Now, all of a sudden, you have a government which has come to the end of its first term, which is so busily increasing salaries and allowances of specified, you know, organizations and so on. And the question that comes to my mind immediately is whether or not they still have their eye on the single spine salary structure, or that they're doing things which would completely destroy what has been achieved since 2009. And this is something which is exceedingly worrying for me. The other issue that I see, and like the other panelists have said, people who work in the public service, including those in the security and so on, deserve to be promoted, you know, when their time is due. They deserve to have better working conditions and so on. I'm particularly worried about the plight of policemen in Ghana. I always look at the barracks at Nima, and I wonder, you know, why people continue to even be in the police service and take all the risks that they do for all of us. You go to the barracks in Nima, and you find that police officers cannot actually keep even their refrigerators in their rooms, because they live in tiny rooms with their families. So if you go to the barracks, you find deep freezers and refrigerators and all of that packed outside, because they need to create room for their children and so on. You have police officers sleeping in single tiny rooms with their wives, with their 3 children and so on. And the consequences are there for all of us to see and so on. In fact, only last week, or this week, the Inspector General of Police made a statement which was totally shocking. The Inspector General of Police actually said that some monies which are being paid to policemen were being paid as allowances for electoral duties and so on, and that 100 cedis of the amount is being paid to police personnel so that they can go and sew their own uniforms.
Wow.
I mean, this is the extent to which standards have fallen in the police service. Now, if you sat down all these years for standards to fall so low, these promotions really do not resolve the fundamental problems that confront, you know, police personnel and so on. And I'm just wondering, I mean, I've just read the story, and part of the story actually claims that some of the people who have been promoted, their promotions were due on 1st January 2021.
Yeah.
So why the rush? If promotions are due on 1st January 2021, why do you give the promotions to the effect from 1st December 2020? Why the rush? You know, it seems to me, and I think it seems to many others, that there is an attempt, a deliberate attempt, to destroy the neutrality of the security services. A neutrality which takes its source from the 1992 Constitution. A neutrality which makes sense in the multi-party democratic dispensation. And why would anybody want to destroy the neutrality of the security services if there's no intention to abuse the security services for the achievement of partisan objectives? That's my worry. You understand? Whereas anybody deliberately trying to destroy the neutrality of the security services must be doing so for a reason. And there can be only one reason, which is to abuse the security services for the achievement of partisan, objectives. And if that is the objective, then it's a subversion. It would amount to a subversion of the 1992 Constitution. And for me, that would be serious. You understand? Today, all kinds of foreign elements are being introduced into the security services. And we all expected that given the security services that have been built over the years and so on, sane, rational, disciplined men and women of the security services would have resisted this attempt to destroy their reputation, to destroy the integrity of the organizations. So therefore, all these promotions, all these monies that are flying around and so on, is it to dull their sense of commitment to building an organization of integrity? And if that is the case, that's a subversion of the democratic experiment that we have all embarked upon. Look, we know there are so many decent policemen and women. We know there are so many decent soldiers, men and women in the Ghana Armed Forces, who want to build organizations which are respected, which have won the respect of the general population, which want to build organizations which are not beholden to the New Patriotic Party and to the National Democratic Congress. And I have no doubt at all that come December 7th, the infiltrators who want to use these institutions in order to perpetuate their partisan, reckless agenda will be taken on by the decent men and women in the security services. And I have no doubt that these things which are being thrown at them, would not dissuade them from carrying out their professional duties, from trying to be the professional men and women that they have always been. Look, what is happening is exceedingly sad. Look at ACP Agozo and the stand he took on building a neutral police service which will be respected by all and which will play its constitutional role of providing protection to all Ghanaians, irrespective of their political affiliation and so on. Look at the stand he took. Today, everybody knows what is happening in the police service. And for me, what is happening in the police service is a total vindication of ACP Agozo. And to some extent, a clear vindication of COP Kofi Boakye and others who have taken a strong stand in favor of the independence of the police service. Whatever happens, after December 7, 2020, maybe after January 7, 2021, we'll have a Herculean task of rebuilding our security services so they can play the role which is assigned to them by the Constitution. What is happening now, clearly, if it continues, will destroy the security services that Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah tried to build for Ghana.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Pras. 0260846539 is the WhatsApp number. We're also streaming live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. So you can connect with us there, share with us what your thoughts are, and we'll read your thoughts out. We are still discussing some domestic issues here. We've just dispensed with the issue regarding Akufo-Addo promoting 2,745 police officers a month ahead of time. Now, it's important to discuss issues relating to corruption. And I'm starting with you, David, on this one. Bribery allegation against Akufo-Addo are separate petitions Shraj. Sir.
When we heard this issue, we were taken aback. Seriously. And I thought it was one of the propagandas that had been thrown around. Because we've been made to understand that we have a president that is incorruptible. You cannot and you dare not, you cannot and you dare not go before him with any issue of bribery or bribing him or trying to corrupt him. So in fact, we have been given an assurance and we will rest assured that when it comes to corruption there, it is not, it can't pass on the face or by the side of our president. And that gave us a lot of confidence. So if you find people being corrupt, oh, his appointees, as for those people we can't trust, but you can trust the president. And if the president is not corrupt, then we are good to go. Because he is the final arbiter. And he's the head. He's the one we voted for. And trusted everything of ours into his hands. Apart from our lives. Or maybe the safety of our lives as well. That's security. When I heard this particular thing, I was like, I wanted an evidence. A hardcore evidence that can prove beyond any doubt that truly this particular president is. Because why? Even in opposition, when he came to government, I remember President Kufuor's time, former President Kufuor's time. He was an attorney general, and then he became the Minister for Foreign Affairs. He has been painted very white, without blemish, no spot nor wrinkle. So, well, we had that faith in him. Just to wake up one morning and like the president is taking bribe. We were like, how? This is not possible. So for me, especially, I wanted to see the video. When I saw the video, one thing that struck me was the urgency to take the brown envelope. But this is one that has been so much talked about, that you cannot. He doesn't like it. He doesn't want anything. This is over 70-year-old man who is not seeking for anything for himself, seeking the good of the nation. We all trusted in that. We worked with it. We traveled with it. But today, it's something different. In fact, my soul was very down. My soul was very down when I saw the video. And everything for me, everything in the video does not tell me that it is a fake video. It's something that was prepared somewhere, cooked somewhere, and presented to us. You get that? So it is very unfortunate that this thing is happening. And the time that it is happening is also very critical. Now, not only that, this thing has gone very viral. I have a friend in VOA, a very good friend. And he called me yesterday to ask me, they've seen this particular thing, Ghanaian president collecting bribe. And the videos are with them. They've seen everything, very glaring. I had wanted to debunk the story, but I didn't know how to go about it. Because this is something that it has a video evidence. This is a shame to this country. It's a disgrace to this nation. It is very unfortunate.
That is an old video.
You see,
2016 video.
My brother, it is not what you say to me that I'll have to take hook, line, and sinker. I can also read in between the lines. I don't have an acumen to be able to determine whether something has been doctored, or maybe I don't have that acumen to be able to run a forensic investigation on that particular thing. But one thing that I know is that the sequence, at least if I know nothing at all, the sequence of the video, if it has been cut and pasted and things changed, you realize that change, because you know that when you cut videos and then you join them, there is that break in when you are watching.
Yeah.
So basically, but when you watch this particular video, that is not how it is. It flows. So for me, than any other Ghanaian, I want to believe that what I've seen is true. I hope that nobody can fault me on that, because that is my belief. And I think that a president, a person in that particular position with that particular caliber, and what has been said of him right from 2016 till yesterday, and the belief and the trust that we've had, the confidence we've reposed in him, I'm very disappointed. I'm so much ashamed.
Wow. Okay.
I'm so much ashamed. Okay. Seriously.
I like the agency bit. Honorable.
Sir.
He said the agency with which that got me.
Kwame.
Yes, sir.
It's a sad day for our country. As a young politician and growing up, there were very few people that stood out when it comes to matters of politics for me. And Nana Akufo-Addo was one of such people, coming from the days of UNC, Powilly. Those were the times I started hearing that name. All the way to, I think, 1988, when the likes of Tommy Thompson, they started some, series of press conferences. And in those days, I think Rawlings was the PNDC. Rawlings was the president, and the PNDC government was being fought vehemently just so they could break the frontiers for democracy to be reinstated. And so in all those struggles, you saw Nana Akufo-Addo, you heard his name, then he was a younger politician, but he was right in the middle of those struggles. Subsequently, the 1992 elections and the boycott, the 96, towards 96 day Kumi Prekus and the Uemi Prekus, he was right there, action, something. They had several programs, and he was integral at that time. So it wasn't difficult for him to have stood out to become a leader of the MPP, especially after the likes of Kufuor and others, Dubois and others. And trust me, I have a family that believes in the CPP tradition. So everybody in the family thinks I am the black sheep who has strayed into an arena that is unfamiliar to the family. More so when it was perceived that the Rawlings administration had something to do with my brother, my late brother, who was a student at the time. So Nana Akufo-Addo stood out for me, especially in the last election. He was one person that had been painted as very clean, politically astute, who was, incorruptible, as my brother has said earlier. So when they won the 2016 elections, I thought that, NDC, at the time we had been bastardized, made to look very dirty, filthy, that nobody wanted to have anything to do with us, especially our leader, President Mahama. And Akufo-Addo, on the other hand, had been cleaned. Coming from the 2008 election, he was washed very dirty in the 2008 elections. But 2012 elections made a certain impression, and then 2016 made him a better, to the extent that his teeth was even redone as part of the new branding Because if you have Akufo-Addo's old pictures, you will know that the kind of teeth he used to have is not what he has today. It was all part of the branding. And this accolade of being presented as an incorruptible person, I think it permeated the system, and some of us, even though we're on the other side, were caught up in it. So when they won elections, if you listen to me on radio, I'm one of the people who thought that, or who was of the view that it's going to be, or take a while for NDC to ever go anywhere near what we call power. Because this man, the way he had been painted, he had been, that creation of Akufo-Addo, it was that man who was coming to make Ghana what it ought to be. And if you listen to his inaugural speech, even though half of it was plagiarized, the underlying factor was he wanted to protect the public purse. Then fast forward, during the appointments of his ministers and deputy ministers, the underlying speech, or the common denominator in most of his speeches was the fact that he's not, if you are here to enrich yourself, then you are in a wrong environment. You better go do something else. So to some of us, the last 2 years, or let's say 2.5 years, when some of these scandals started coming in, starting with the bust scandal.
It started from the Flagstaff House.
Of course, with the Flagstaff House, what do they call that? The appointment, the cash for seat, the 20,000 allegation for appointments to see the president, the cash for seat, then the bust scenario, then the fisheries, premix fuel missing, and all those other things. That is where it started from. And one would have thought that, with this man who everybody thought was coming to crack the whip and discipline his ministers, he was going to take some kind of action against these things. All you realized was that this man was just packing the issues. Once he pushes it to an investigative body, then the case rests. And then, trust me, the media would also help to make the cases rest. Look, this whole thing, I would not blame Nana Akufo-Addo and his ministers or whoever. I'll put half of the blame to the media. Because, you see, if the media had been up in fighting against corruption, and they have been able to stand their ground despite the threats. I know people have been beaten, people have been maimed, people have been warned and threatened and so on. We all know that, but in our own small way, we've also been threatened.
Some were closed down.
I agree, but you don't need a media house to be a journalist, do you? I've known Mr. Kwesi Pratt when he didn't have a media house, and he hasn't changed. Wherever he gets the opportunity, he practices journalism. You understand? And for me, that is what I expect the Ghanaian journalists, and they must be truthful. You see, this bribery scandal is so scandalizing, not only to Akufo-Addo, to all of us, like my brother said, to the extent that people have had calls from my friends around the world. Is it true? Did this happen? No, but they said it's not true. It's fake. And all of that. And I said, look, today this morning I sent a text message to Mr. Kweku Bako that, look, his whatever little credibility that he has left, because you see, he's the one who is on the rooftops trying to rubbish whatever is going on, making it look like it is
mere propaganda.
Yes, but it is not. I'm sure you've seen it on social media.
Absolutely.
Where a picture that is sitting in the background of the video. There's this bookcase in the background. And in the bookcase is a framed picture of the President and Angela Merkel in the background. So this claim of this picture or this whole thing being a 2016 event prior to the 2016 election, when did Angela Merkel meet President Akufo-Addo in 2016? To the extent that that picture was taken at that time and placed in the video. Or was that video or that picture also sent there by the NDC? And mind you, this is not a story that came from the stables of the NDC. It was when Kevin Taylor put out a notice that there's going to be a scandal.
Grand finale.
Yes.
Grand finale.
Yes. So in the days preceding the date he had given for the grand finale to start, the NPP people panicked.
They started releasing the video.
They themselves panicked. And sent this guy, Justice Annan, who now calls himself Kweku Annan, to put out a video whilst he was in a car to preempt this whole thing, that a video is going to be put out there again. Their people should not panic. It's very damning. He himself said it, that the video was very damning. So, but then when it comes, their people should not panic and blah, 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 blah. You could tell that even for him speaking, there was tension.
Then Gabi followed. I read Gabi's
Yes.
post as well.
So you could tell that this whole thing had been stage managed to come and douse the fire before it is late. Trust me, Kevin Taylor didn't even have this video. He didn't have it. He also saw it when they themselves released it, and subsequently got the original video from somewhere else. So now the original video is out, the voices are out, we can hear everybody loud and clear. Now they are saying it is fake. For me, it's sad. Again, one would ask, this gentleman, I hear they call Salis Swale or something. The guy they claim took the video.
Salis newspaper, I believe.
It's Salis newspaper, but
so.
it has a name that has Swale, I think, as part of it.
Swale, yeah.
Yeah. It is believed by yesterday at our press conference, communications officer said that it is believed that whoever murdered Ahmed Swale was contracted to murder a certain Swale, but not the one who died. Related, relating to this particular story, because according to my communications officer, this story about this Swale guy or this bribery has been in the picture for quite a while. It was this same Swale guy who used to work with Anas some years back, not the one who was killed. And he was the one who was behind the, you remember when Kennedy Japan decided to fight Anas?
Yeah.
He said, who does what? Who watches the watchman?
Yeah.
Those videos of Anas and whatever, it is, my communications officer says that it was this guy who supplied those videos to Kennedy Japan.
The Swale guy.
The Swale guy. Until he fell out with Kennedy Japan. Until he fell out with Kennedy Japan. And then he went after him. How Ahmed Swale died, And the circumstances by which he died, only God knows. But it is believed that it has something to do with this tape. So for me, this thing has just started. It is now brewing, and I'm happy ASEPA is asking or has petitioned Straj to look into it. And I believe Straj will be emboldened to do a good job. I pray that these elections go the way of the NDC so that we can take over the system and investigate this matter properly so that we put this matter to where it really belongs. If somebody has died as a result of this, whoever is behind it must face the music.
Thank you. Thank you. Very, 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 very much, Honorable Edward. Sorry, Mr. Pratt, please.
Well, so much has been said about this tape. And for me, one of the most important things which nobody is talking about has to do with the level of treachery around the president. Now, obviously, a tape exists. And obviously, not everything on the tape can be a fabrication. Obviously, somebody went to the president's office or home or wherever and presented him with a brown envelope. That cannot be denied. The contestation is around the words which were altered as the brown envelope was being presented. I do not think that there's also any doubt about the contents of the brown envelope. The brown envelope contained cash. There's no dispute about that. And indeed, if you listen to all those who are claiming that the tape has been fabricated, they also publicly admit that the tape was recorded by somebody close to the president or present when the presentation was made. And in fact, they have all of them named the gentleman that Honorable Owusu named as the person who videoed the transaction. You understand? Now, there's an important question to ask. If it was a normal party contribution to party and so on, why did the guy video it? You know, if I come to your house or something normal and so on, why would I go with a hidden camera to record it? The camera was hidden. It was a hidden camera which was used to record this. Why would anybody use a hidden camera to record something like this if the person does not believe or suspect malfeasance? These are legitimate questions to ask. You understand? But I'm deeply worried about the fact that this president was completely unprotected.
True.
You know, he was sitting there bare. His own people set him up. And his own people obviously released this tape. Nobody in the NDC could have recorded this video. Nobody in the CPP could have recorded this video. This video could have been recorded only by somebody close to the president and in the New Patriotic Party. Why did they do it? In any case, how did this video move from that person or people behind the recording into the hands of Kelvin Taylor? Who sent it to Kelvin Taylor? What was the purpose of sending this video to Kelvin Taylor? So it is obvious that there are people within the New Patriotic Party who are determined to bring this president down. So this whole allegation that is the NDC which is doing it and so on, as far as I'm concerned, is hogwash. The origin of this video is the New Patriotic Party. Let us assume that it's the NDC which gave this video to Kelvin Taylor. How did the NDC get it from the New Patriotic Party? Who in the New Patriotic Party, who around the president made the tape available to the NDC? These are questions that deserve proper answers. so. Now, there are all kinds of claims. Some say, yes, yeah, money was presented to the president, but it is not a bribe. It's a normal campaign donation. Okay. At least we know the money was presented. Normal campaign donation. But if you listen to that video, the lady who made the presentation made a very specific allegation that this is not the first time they are presenting some cash, and that they have sent earlier donations which did not reach the target. I'm sure you heard it. That they sent some earlier and didn't get to the right place. People pocketed it. That in itself is a serious allegation. It's a serious allegation to the extent that you have people around the president in the governing party and in government who are collecting campaign donations and pocketing them. Now, if people in government and with access to government are collecting campaign donations and vamoosing them, what do they do with public funds? You know, that's another issue that nobody is addressing. Then there is the issue about some Alhaji Abbas and so on who wanted to be retained in his position. If that is established, it would amount to buying public service positions. And that is, you know. Well, I'm happy that at least finally some organization has decided to put all this to the empirical test. And they submitted a petition to Shrad for Shrad to investigate and come out with a verdict. I think that's the way to go. Every citizen, every legitimate and legal organization has a right to send these petitions. So my hope is that Shrad will finally unravel all the mysteries and enable us to understand what has actually happened. And that would not be a bad thing at all. It will be good. Look, all those who are making all these kinds of noises and so on, they were here when indeed it was alleged that the former president had received a gift of a Ford expedition vehicle. Same things. It went to Shrad. Some organization went to Shrad with a petition and so on. It was investigated. At the end of it, Shrad came to the conclusion that the president had not collected any bribe. In spite of that, in spite of the conclusions of Shrad, they continue to use that allegation today against former President John Dramani Mahama. So all the people who are jumping over themselves, who are tumbling over themselves, I mean, to defend this act and so on, where were they when the Ford allegation was made against former President John Dramani Mahama? When actually Shrad said that there had been no bribery, it was still being used against him. Look, I think that we ought to be fair. You know, we ought to be fair. We have to touch everybody with the same brush and so on. I do not want to make prejudicial statements. I would like to wait for Shrad, and whatever Shrad says, we'll be guided by whatever Shrad says.
Thank you, Mr. Pratt. Let me read a few messages here. KOD, good morning to you. There are two reasons why the president promoted the police officers. One, they anticipate votes from them. Two, they don't want to create... the second one, they don't appear. If you can resend it, I'll be glad. This is no amount of words that can convince Ghanaians that the said video was fake. John Akamba Isaka Kintampo. Good morning to you, Kwame. Another promised to protect the public purse. Unfortunately, he is found to be swimming in the public purse. Rather, no problem. Ghanaians will surely give their verdict on the 7th of December between Nana and JM. Haj Faisal from Kaswa sent in this one. If unfortunately Akufo-Addo wins this election, he will step down in the process. What a shame. From Selom. Johnny Nadenta says, good morning to you. I've been telling you all along that we should throw the tag away that the president is incorruptible. The MPP is telling us today that this video was recorded when he was in opposition as a candidate. Come on. How can someone in opposition as a candidate be referred to as His Excellency? The man is simply corrupt. The mother serpent of corruption, you say. Hi, good morning. Good morning to you. In fact, I was very sad when I saw the video. Osman T. Karim from Wa. Zach in Ejura says, good morning to you, Kwame. Politicians in Ghana are telling the ordinary Ghanaians that they can't be trusted. A video is circulating accusing president of taking bribe to keep someone at post. MPP as a party debunks the claim when the man involved in this matter and his wife are still alive. So why can't the security agencies invite them for questioning to reveal what really happened? For me, all I know is both parties and their president are all swimming in corruption. Okay, Zach in Ejura. Akufo-Addo is just too corrupt. If not, why did he sack Domilovo and Amidou? Kweku from La Paz sent in this one. Martin Amidou resigned, sir. I always say if truth offends you, lies will destroy you. Wonders shall never end. 4 more days to go forever. Yaya from Nkwanta in Oti region. Boss, I just had a conversation with a senior police officer, and the officer told me that many of those junior police officers promoted were only 3 years on their current ranks instead of 4 years before being promoted. It will be desirable if your station can do a fact-finding check to establish the veracity of this, or otherwise, because things are just not adding up. Shalom. Then it's why Equate sent in this one. Hey, this mother serpent is true. If it's true, then Ghanaians should advise themselves. Ghana is no longer a democratic state. Why do you send that? You sent me a document. Okay, it can't open. If you can resend that document, I'll be very glad. Wisdom says, okay, Wisdom, I've read your message already. Grace submission, fearless, Kwesi Uyebui, you have said it all. The video was from his own party. Abba sent in this one. Good morning, Keo. Akufo-Addo is the most corrupt president ever in the history of Ghana. Let's vote him out. Good morning, Pan-African Television. Greetings to your panelists. Today, I can't see my mentor Kwesi Pratt. He looks very quiet. Why? Though I'm not his best friend. Though I know his best friend died, Mr. Rollins. He should take it easy. Someone sent in this one. Mischief detected. Good morning to you, Kwame. My question is, why didn't the campaign manager of the president collect the money on his behalf, if indeed it was meant for campaign? Jacob from Amasaman sent in this one. Good morning to you, KD and the panelists. In fact, Ghana's democracy is in danger with this corrupt family and friends, the Nado government in the helm of affairs. I entreat every well-meaning Ghanaian to come out in their numbers to vote for John Mahama to restore our last hope and dignity. The good news is that Monday is a holiday, so all of you can come out to vote. KOD, I also read that the looting Nana and his MPP looters are about to start the bauxite mining. May God never let the MPPs taste any seat of Ghana ever again. Al-Hajj, Takwa, Kaladin area, Tamale. He is a creature of propaganda. He is not particularly intelligent, emotionally unstable, and bankrupt morally. Take away his bravado and residual family glory, and nothing is left. But for the head mentality of partisan support in Ghana, this man, Koshi Badohu, Denu Dankson. Nana Ofori Amanfo Akem Oda. Good morning, Mr. Host. Please, my question is, does the NDC have no campaign message? Opposition is still waiting for them. Kwame, during the swearing in of... where is it? During the swearing in of Nana Akufo-Addo, he was going to work with Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi. They know the game. Later, the game master was busted in a corruption scandal with Nanado in his pocket. It was just a matter of time, and finally the truth is out. I love the motto, the truth stands. KOD, I think Martin Amidou's description of Akufo-Addo as mother serpent of corruption is very right. It is now out for everybody to see when the man himself is taking cash God save us. Freeman Zolonyeku from Adidome. Good morning, Kwame. Where is it? Okay. When people still vote for mother serpents to steal from us, you ask, are we serious as a nation? John from Uti region. This one says, I'm a teacher who has written who has to write an exam before promoted. I wish to ask if the police officers who have been promoted took any exam before their promotion. What hypocrisy. Citizen from Wa says, good morning. With reference to Akufo-Addo's bribery saga, one may be compelled to agree with what former GFA president said when he said the president lost everything through campaigns, and for that reason, $1 million could move him. It is pure kindergarten logic by the NDC to wishful think fake and doctored videos can ruin the hard-earned reputation of our incorruptible President Akufo-Addo. If by the logic of the NDC, the Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu resigned because MPP are thieves, what were the NDC when they say Martin Amidu resigned as Attorney General under NDC? Simply, you cannot win an elections with lies and propaganda. Abdul Rahman Bako, Old Barrier. Good morning, Kwame. I just want to know if that Urban Roads Director mentioned in the video is still at post. If yes, the video is authentic because the Auditor General, who is protected by law, is asked, then how on earth can this man be at post if he didn't pay bribe? PK from Cape Coast. Kobe says, oh, where is it? Messages are just okay. So George from New York says this is another way the President Akufo-Addo used to. Okay, this is another way to bribe the police. 2,745 police officers to be promoted. Okay, right. That's your opinion. Kobe says, Massa, me, I have known Akufo-Addo since 2004 to be very corrupt. He's very pretentious. You didn't add your, okay, well, your location. I think there's no need for our national team to panic about our goalkeeping. Hey, what does that got to do with what we are discussing? Imaino says, good morning to you, Kwame. Police officers have been promoted. What about other government workers in civil and public service? Are they not Ghanaians? Good morning, Kwame. It's very sad. Very sad that MPP is threatening media houses that they will come after them. Look at the picture of the president and German lady. Check the date, and the picture is hanging in the background. Allah save Ghana and Ghana media. Pima Issa from Boko. Few messages and then wrap up. Martin Amidu has been vindicated. Yakubu from Takwa. Solomon from Yendi says, okay, you've sent the same message as sent by the previous texter. David from Kumasi says, the MPPs are only criticizing NDC policies. MPP should say what they have done and stop the criticisms and insults. They are all hypocrites. Sefia Moklu says, why accept a gift from the wife of public servant when there's the conversation, where in the conversation there was clear intent to protect her husband, who was facing some challenges at work. Now in the video was referred to as Your Excellency. Was he in that capacity at the time? If it was, during 2016 campaign, as we are being told, what powers does a candidate in an election have in protecting a public servant? Martin Amidu has been vindicated. Alidu Dramani, Wasa Amenfi East constituency. Good morning. My humble question, if those who couldn't find their names for special voting can vote on December 7th, what happens to those who will not find their names on December 7th? Felix in Old Ningo. Shadrach from Techiman. Okay, you didn't add your message to it. Emma from Kumasi says, good morning, Kwame. Messages are a lot. I can't read all of them. But thank you very much, David Kumiado, for your time this morning. Thank you to you, Honorable Kojo Eduasare, for your time this morning. Thank you, Mr. Pratt, for your time. Thank you to you, the viewers, for sending your messages. My name is Kwame Owusu, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Do have a nice day. Bye-bye.
My name is Samuel Obri.